Hi, 7th graders. I'm going to talk you through how to do the infectious disease assignment. So first of all, make sure that you are on the slide that has your section number. If there's a wrong section number up here, make sure you go to the slideshow that matches yours. On the second slide, you'll see this video. And then on the third slide, I want you to stop and read this. It's about the difference between infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. I've given you an example here of a disease you can catch, which we call infectious because it infects you. One example is chickenpox. A non-infectious disease, or some of them aren't even diseases, they're just conditions, is dwarfism. Okay, and if you know of any that you can add to these lists, please add them before you go on to the next slide. Okay, I want to talk about what causes infectious diseases. They're usually caused by microscopic structures. They can be caused by cells or they can be caused by viruses. So we've learned about two different types of cells already, eukaryotes, and there are some eukaryotes called protists, or even some small animals that can infect humans and cause disease. And so one possible infection is an infection of a eukaryotic cell. Okay, a lot of infections are caused by bacteria. Remember, there are good bacteria too. Most bacteria are harmless, but a lot of bacteria, some bacteria can cause infection. Okay, and then there's something that's even smaller than a cell, something that you may have heard of called a virus. A virus is not alive because it's not made of cells. It's teeny tiny. It doesn't have a cell membrane. It doesn't have cytoplasm. All it has is DNA and a little bit of protein around it, or a substitute for DNA called RNA and a little bit of protein around it. But they use cells, they infect cells, but they are not cells themselves, so they're not considered alive. Now this is not to scale, but to see it to scale, and that you can. This link is active in the slideshow. When you look at the slideshow, you can follow this link. There's a little slider here, and you can zoom in from a coffee bean or grain of rice into a grain of salt. And now we're starting to see some cells. These right here cells that you can see are all eukaryotes. That amoeba is a protist that can cause infection. If you get an amoeba infection in your gut, you can get what's called amoebic dysentery, really bad diarrhea, not fun. Paramecia that we saw in the pond water. Here's a human egg cell, a skin cell. If we zoom in even more, we're going to see more cells, all eukaryotic so far. Baker's yeast is a eukaryotic cell. And here's some cell parts that you may know, a mitochondrion, a lysosome, and we're starting to get small enough that we can see bacteria. So here's a prokaryotic cell or bacteria, even smaller than a mitochondrion. And see all these little things right here? Some of those are viruses. So if we zoom in even more, we get down to see some viruses. So they are teeny, teeny, tiny little things. Okay, oops. Okay, but some of all of them can cause infection. Got a couple of short videos for you to watch just to review the difference between viruses and bacteria and how they cause infection. Okay, here's a list of a whole bunch of infectious diseases. This is a resource page that you're going to use. So you're going to choose one of these diseases and you're going to just do some very quick research about what the symptoms are of a disease and what causes it. Is it a virus? Is it a bacterium? Or is it a eukaryotic cell? Okay, and these blue things right here, those are links to the CDC website about them, and that's where you're going to get your information. Okay, I've done one for you. I chose chickenpox already, so that one's taken. And I typed my name in here. First person to type their name in gets that disease to research. And I want you to do a couple of steps here. So the first thing I want you to do is, as you research it, use those websites that were in blue on the previous slide. I want you to find information about how it affects the body and what its symptoms are. You're going to cut and paste that into this box, make sure you put quotation marks around it because you are quoting directly from your source. If you have time, you can even add some pictures of the symptoms if you find those on the page. Okay, and then to the right of that, I want you to paraphrase or explain in your own words what you understand from what you read. Okay, don't just change one or two words, explain it in your own words. Okay, and then in the next row here, you're going to look at the cause. This will be much shorter. You're figuring out if it's if it's a virus, a bacteria, or a eukaryote. And if you can find a picture of that cell or virus to include, that would be great. Okay, so here I've quoted directly from the website, and then I've explained it again in my own words. And then very bottom row, I want you to just cut and paste the URL from the website you used. Okay. Up here, it should say disease, the name of the disease you researched, your name, and up here it'll say virus, bacteria, or eukaryote. I want you to delete everything but what it is. So I deleted it so it just says virus, disease, chickenpox, because this one was a virus. If yours was a bacterium, you'd leave it at bacteria. If yours was a eukaryote, you'd leave it at eukaryote. Okay. When you're done with your slide, you are not done. I want you to do one other thing. I want you to look through at some other people's slides, and not while you're presenting the slideshow, but just while you're looking around. And you can go through, there's slides already made for all of these. You can claim the one that you want to do. But once you're done, I want you to look at what some other students have done, and I want you to make comments. Okay, the comments are not critiques. You are not telling a student they did a good or a bad job. That is not your job. Your comment is just to share what you learned. Okay, so on a particular slide, okay, you can add a comment by clicking the comment button up here, or the shortcut is Control Option M, and that'll allow you to make a comment, type it in, and click the comment button. And that student will see that you made a comment on their slide. Okay, and they can even reply to it. It is very important, since we are using one slideshow for our whole class, that you guys are respectful. Once you claim a slide, you are the only person that is allowed to type on that slide. Nobody else is allowed to type on it. If anybody else does, they will get a 0. Okay. If you make any rude or incomplete comments or incorrect comments, I guess incomplete is okay, but if you make any rude or inappropriate comments, that's the word I'm looking for, you will get a 0 as well on this assignment. Please use your best internet etiquette here and be kind and respectful, but let's see what we can learn about diseases and what causes them.